Hi.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special UPRE Black Widow. I am Jack Widow, along with Cedar Superior, and we are here to talk about Black Widow, which I don't know. I feel like with the whole pandemic and everything, it was just this movie should have came out last year. Should have probably came
out a long time, even before then, if we're being honest.
Like maybe I would even say like 4 years ago and stuff like that. But we're here to talk about it. If you guys have not seen it, a lot of spoilers, but we do appreciate those likes and whatnot. But if you did see it, stay with us. Tell us your thoughts and everything. See, you went to go see the movie at the theaters. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I'm a big theater girl. Like, I love going to the movies. I actually prefer going to movies than staying at home and watching a movie. So I did go, got my tickets online.
Hey.
Went to the theater. It was, clean, spaced out. I didn't feel like icky or anything like that. And, you get the whole experience when you're at the theater. You get the sticky floors. You get, the getting yourself some elbow room, even though I had plenty of elbow room because, again, like I said, it was pretty empty in there. But, yeah, I'm always pro theater as opposed to staying at home. But
no, I believe that. I mean, there's nothing like a theater experience. I mean, it's just nothing like it. I mean, even when you go in and you be like, oh man, this theater kind of sucks because, like you said, the sticky floors and stuff. But when you're in there, you kind of you're having a good time because you're at the movie. What is there more to say about it?
Exactly.
This movie was really
you saw it on Disney Plus though, right? You said.
Yes, ma'am. I did see it on Disney Plus, and I had the time of my life. I had some food, I had a drink, and I was sitting there enjoying this movie because I was sitting there saying like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, I do eventually want to go back to the theaters, but knowing that we were going to review this, I said, "Oh man, let me just go home," because I know I was coming home late for work, and I said it would be better if I just watch it after work and just make an event out of it. And I thought this movie was just jumping the gun here. I thought this movie was pretty good. I don't think Marvel, I understand what they were trying to do here, but they advertised it at one point and said, the best Marvel movie. And I said, okay, calm down. Let's calm down a minute. Let's not do that. Don't put that much pressure on Black Widow. But I thought the movie was a very fun movie. I thought this was great. I think, and maybe great is strong, but I thought this was really good. I thought that it was closure for Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow, who, it's almost hard to believe, but she's played this for 10, 11 years.
A very long time. And I didn't know that was kind of, promoted as the best Marvel movie. And I was shocked to see how many negative reviews that I saw about the movie, like before I even watched it. Yes. And like the main thing people were talking about, oh, it's a feminist movie, yada, yada. And I'm thinking, before I really got the chance to watch the movie, I'm thinking like, dang, what if it's really bad? Like, people were even talking about how, it just didn't make much sense. And I'm like, let me go in there open-minded. I had to remind myself, well, more accurately, my cousin had to remind me that, people are very critical of like female-led action movies and stuff. So that could be the reason why there's like so many reviews that were like kind of on the negative. But when I went in there, when the movie first opened and we get the flashback or her life before when she was younger. And I was thinking whole time, was she the littlest girl? Like, but then it wasn't. But I was like, okay, the time period doesn't match up. Supposed to be 1995. And I thought they were like, I thought it was supposed to be Black Widow and like her brother or something who was taking care of the, but then it was revealed later that the oldest child was the girl. And that was actually, Natasha.
Black Widow, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we get the, first of all, I love the opening when, it's very suspenseful because, they have to leave and you don't know what's chasing them, why they have to leave their home. Right. And they had this little scene where you see Alexei, the dad, he's pushing over stuff out the way. So you can see he's actually like a super powered being. He's not just, a scientist dad how he was kind of, angled to be in the first like 5 minutes. And I liked it because it gave us like a base of her childhood. Like we get to see, okay, well, this is where she was. So when we get like the reunion of the family later, it can be more impactful because we know, okay, this was their dynamic before. But what did you think?
It was layers. This was definitely adding layers to Black Widow, because I feel like in all the other movies that we've ever had with Black Widow, you didn't have that. So like her background was such a mystery. Like she might let you know little things, but not enough where, like you mentioned about the father, the mother, and the sister, and this beginning. I actually watched it again yesterday, and as I was watching it, I was like, wow, this was really. It almost, I don't want to go through every other hero, but like it just shows you why she was how she is, because her family background was just not stable. Like not stable, on the run, on the go. I mean, I don't know how old she was, but just seeing her, and once again, spoilers if you guys haven't seen it, but seeing her fly a freaking airplane at maybe 8 or 9. I don't know how old she was. All I know is that sucker would have crashed. That was me. I mean, you had the mother tell her, turn left. Now press the buttons.
Yeah, guiding her through.
Take it off. I said, oh, they're there. I thought that was crazy. So like, yeah,
and they made it all the way to Cuba with Alexei on the wing. I don't know how. He was just holding on for dear life.
I mean, the faith that she had in her child. If I ever had children, and I'm going to say right here on there, I love them, but I don't trust them to be flying an airplane. So for her to be like, that trust was strong, and it almost gave you an indication that how do I word this? Like, it was always like everything. Not everything was always on her, but like there was a strong responsibility for such a young age. If that makes sense.
And it was revealed later in the movie that wasn't like her real like biological family. This was like, a set up family. Like they were all spies, and they were just placed together on this mission where they had to pretend to be this family for 3 years. And it was a little confusing to me at first when Black Widow first met up with Yelena, her younger sister. And the first thing they did was just wrecking, and the action scenes were really like the fight scenes. Yes. Fantastic. Like you really were on the edge of your seat. Good. Like the choreography and everything was just spectacular. Probably one of the best like hand-to-hand fight scenes in the MCU, honestly. Her and her sister fighting.
I thought it was really good. I really did. I thought it was really good. And I do want to talk a little bit about her little sister. Her little sister did a tremendous job in this movie. I think everyone's going to look at Black Widow and go, all eyes on her, right? But the little sister was really good. I did love the dynamic between her and her little sister. I love that, like you pointed out earlier, you said that, soon as it was like, what do they call it? On sight.
Yes.
As soon as these two saw each other, they were throwing knives and they're fighting. You put down the gun. No, you put down the gun. They're fighting. I'm probably offending people. I will not be making that accent anymore. But these two are going at it, like they're going at each other. And then eventually, it shows that because of everything that happened early on in their life, like these two had such a close bond. Then they separated, and then Natasha goes to America and she's living her life, and her sister, who's pretty much on her own, and she just wants that what they used to have. And even though she always tried to put it in the background of like, oh, I don't care about this, because she was kind of like I don't want to say like, how do I put it? Like almost like nothing bothers her, but stuff bothers her. So I wanted to put a little bit of eyes on her because I thought that the actress who played her did such a tremendous job, brought her character to life, and did a really good job. And like you said, with the sequence, and I love this stuff too. I wanted to point this out where like every time she said, "What is this thing you do? Like you'll land and you pose. You're such a poser." I thought that was such a. I really love the dynamic because it was really such a sister relationship where they fought, but you knew she was always craving for her big sister.
Yeah, and her family in general, because she was the littlest, bittiest one. And I guess it rung very true because, as if you are the younger sister, I think the younger ones are usually more the ones who kind of cling to the ideal of family and stuff like that, especially because you're so young and impressionable when when you did have that family dynamic. And they even mentioned it in one scene when they go to see the mother again after they break out Alexei. she was like, well, it was real to me. You were my real mother, and all of that. Yeah. Very touching scene. But I do think the movie was great. I love the movie, but there were some things that I have to mention that were like, what?
There we go. Let's hear it. I'm interested. What do you got?
So the most egregious of them would be the plot armor. Like Black Widow doesn't have any superpowers. She's literally surviving these like death-defying feats. It's like, how does she survive this? Especially there was one scene in particular, and I was thinking, there's no way in hell that she's alive after this. After the Taskmaster comes and she like shoots, well, spoiler, she shoots an arrow underneath the car that Black Widow and Yelena are driving, and the thing like explodes. It jumps in the air. It lands on the roof of the car, slides down like a metro subway thing. And I'm like, there's no way in hell anyone would be able to survive this. And lo and behold, Black Widow and her sis come out with barely even a scratch. First of all, Black Widow is like pristine. She comes out perfectly fine. And Yelena just got like a little bit of a scratch, a little blood arm.
Yeah,
and that was
like right.
Like how the plot armor was strong throughout the whole of this movie. I even some of the they're in the air at the Red Room, and magically none of the debris falls on them and knocks anybody unconscious. Everyone's alive. That part of the movie was a little too unbelievable for me. But all movies do have like a little touch of plot armor. With this, obviously, she couldn't have died in this movie because it takes place before.
Well, you talk about the that. You talk about that, right? So we're just shooting the crap here, talking about this movie. But we get to the final boss. He's a sexist pig, and this guy. I was just talking to someone not that long ago, and I was like, like Black Widow. Like when you think about her career, right, MCU wise and everything, the Avengers, they fought aliens, right? This guy's just a regular dude. Like,
yeah. There was the pheromones.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I do have to point out. He's a sexist pig, but the man was a genius. Because when he did it, because that spot, I do want to talk about that spot. Because at first, when and we'll get back to certain parts, but like this spot right here, because I remember watching it. And I remember she had the gun and she just didn't do it. I said, oh, maybe she had a change of heart and maybe saying, you're not worth it. But when he takes the gun, shoots it in the air, what are you doing? Come on, do it. Yeah, you know what it is? What did you say it was? He has
the pheromones, and it doesn't make sense.
Oh, my goodness.
That was another thing that didn't make sense to her. Like how and why? And the fact that she couldn't just hold her breath because you got to damage some nerve in the brain. How much ass kicking has Black Widow been through the years? Like she's been fighting everybody. Not at one point was this little thing damaged in her brain right here while she was taking fists to the face and fighting aliens and everything. That didn't make sense to me. The fact that I don't think they ever really said who created this mist that breaks the mind control. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if I missed it or if it wasn't disclosed. But if it wasn't disclosed,
the thing to break them out of their trance, right?
Yeah, the cure, the red mist cure. I don't think
revealed who did it. I just
so it's like, who did that? some good Samaritan who knew what the hell was going on. And I do like the allegory of Dreykov representing men of power using women's bodies to put themselves at a more advantageous position.
You don't speak for me, though. I want to make it clear that you don't speak for me, but carry on.
Yeah, I said men of power, but you are Jack Widow, so you're very powerful. So maybe
I'm the strongest of the widows.
The strongest Avenger.
That's right. I'm the one with the kill, baby. Good.
Yes. So I liked that they kind of like touched on that, and it was the whole of the movie was kind of like representing, that struggle, right? I did enjoy that, but yes, some of the stuff doesn't make sense. I wish they would have gotten to a little bit more detail about where did this cure come from? How is it that, they're surviving all of these death-defying feats? I wish there was a little bit more of a reason behind that. But I did like, again, I love the movie. And I did like the dynamics between the families, especially with Alexei and, because when they meet up again with him, he's in prison and he's just so boastful about his glory days.
Yes, like
I love that movie.
I love the Red Guardian. I had to throw it out there. When I saw this man, I said, "This guy's my hero." I love that he was out of shape. I love that he hang on to his glories day. Like he reminded me of that dude in high school who said, "Hey, you remember that time I shot like 13 points?" It's like, "Yeah, but we're 40 now. Like, what's your credit score look like?" I
Right.
love that this guy was all about the past when he ran with his daughters, and he's walking with Black Widow. He's walking with her, and he goes, "The cat acts about me." I'm like, dude,
Right.
what are you talking about? I loved everything about this guy. The guy had a great beard. I mean, had a great beard. This guy had the belly of a god. I love
Yes.
when he squeezed into his tights because that's what he
It's
I said, this guy got it. This guy understands it. So I really like Red Guardian. I thought Red Guardian, he did bring a lot of funny to the movie, but he also brought up like you mentioned about the family ties that these guys had. There was times where he really tried to be a dad. He was like, I did what I thought I had to do. He acknowledged that I made mistakes, but in his own way, like the younger daughter, she mentioned how this was real to her, and she voiced that. She said that. And his way, he tried to say it was real to him too. He even pointed out something in the movie. The youngest daughter, her favorite song was it was I'm sorry, I don't want to sing and butcher it. It was an old 90s song. It was "This is the Day That I Die," which sounds like a terrible song. Like when I hear it now, I'm like, oh my God, I bopped my head to this. And he sings these lyrics to let her know like it was real to me too, because if he didn't care, he would not have remembered that little trait for his youngest daughter, and he did remember that. So there was a lot of moments where I was kind of like, wow, this is kind of like I felt something come down my eye, but I felt like there was onions around. So like these things, I do like that he was an actual. He showed that he really did care. Is my point.
Yeah. I did enjoy his character. I wish that they would hurry up with this next season of Stranger Things, because with the people have been waiting, but I guess he was busy making this movie. I don't know. But hopefully that means they freed up some time to release the next season of Stranger Things. But, you know, I digress. We'll talk about that. So, yeah, overall, I enjoyed the movie. So I'm going to have to give this movie the thumbs up it deserves. Great movie. I enjoyed it.
So yeah, and I'm with you on it. I do agree. I don't think it was Marvel tried to really hype it up. It was some other guy who tried to hype it up, and I remember they shared the thing, and I remember I was like, "Who is this guy?" You know, I'm gonna look him up after this. But he, I did think this movie was great. I do want to sit here and say this. I was saying this before we went on air. Marvel has really been killing it with the Disney Plus shows, and going back in theater. And starting off with Black Widow, like I said, it probably should have been something 4 or 5 years ago. It is what it is. But this movie was very fun. I think it was closure for the Black Widow character. And I look forward to seeing what happens next. Do you want to talk about the end credit scene?
Yeah, I was just about to say it.
Oh, no, we're not done yet. No.
Right, hold tight, because the end credit scene, it pretty much, it introduces our girl Yelena, the younger sister, into the broader universe of the DC Plus shows. So apparently she's going to be in the Hawkeye series, which I'm very excited for. Since the Avengers came out, I was like, justice for Hawkeye. He's been, you know, on the back burner for far too long. I'm glad he's getting his own show. But the fact that she's maybe like his nemesis or in the show, like she's supposed to be going after him because she was told that this is the reason why your sister is dead and all of that. So I'm really excited for Hawkeye, more so than I was excited for, you know, the Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki series, even though that's still going on and we're reviewing that also. We'll be talking about that final episode on Wednesday. But yeah, I'm probably the most excited for, outside of WandaVision, Hawkeye series.
It does make a little intrigue to Hawkeye. I mean, I don't think I was really excited about it beforehand. Like it was like Hawkeye, and honestly, he was like the least like of all the Avengers, you kind of like you yawn and then you go to sleep
Just this for Hawkeye.
yes, but it does make it because it's like, wow, this is going to be like the nemesis or the enemy or however you want to word it, and it makes you kind of makes you go a little excited. I mean, when I saw Valerie show up, I said, oh, because they did mention this was supposed to be her debut, and then obviously 2020 happened, and then we got Falcon and Winter Soldier. She shows up there, so it was supposed to be this thing. So she's trying to create her own Avengers, which I'm kind of excited about because she kind of got her own Cap. She got her own Black Widow. I don't know what's next, but I'm kind of excited about it.
Dark Avengers.
And I know, right? And
it's going to have to be She-Hulk. It has to be. That's the next one. The next Dark Avenger.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And I'm actually looking forward to reviewing that eventually, too, because I don't want to go all over the air, but I'm sitting there going like, man, that's going to be fun to really, because you're introducing some new characters now. That Miss Marvel, so I look forward to reviewing that. But I thought this end credit, I mean, I was like, oh wow, she's gonna be like the antagonist now. So,
but aside from all that, I wonder why Natasha was buried at that location. It looked like it was in the middle of nowhere, kind of like forgotten about graveyard. Just a couple little trinkets here and there over her grave, but it looked very much like some, it wouldn't be the place I would expect an Avenger to be buried. But another comment I had about the movie that I didn't bring up was the fact that they were Natasha's supposed to be running from the law. They were really loosey-goosey about, hey, we're on the run. Hey, we're on the run. It was like everyone, they were in the gas station talking about it. It's like she didn't even try to change her appearance. She was walking in the middle of that city. Red hair flaming, looking like freaking Black Widow.
And Hawkeye talk about all the time. I was depending on you with the pronunciation, but it was like Budapest or something like that.
Yeah, Budapest. I was like Budapest.
Budapest, yeah.
But anyway, we're running long. Right, but we do have to end this episode. But let us know if you enjoyed Black Widow. If you're ready to see more, you want to see Hawkeye series that's going to be coming out. Are you Team Hawkeye or not? Are you Team Black Widow? Let us know. And we will see you for Loki on Wednesday. So, bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.